And here we are, starting another live show. Make sure that everything is all right. Hello, everybody. Nice to have all of you here. So welcome everyone. This is the Live Tech Show, and we are at show number 93 for October 17th, 2017. And this is the show where we talk about everything, and basically about technology, of course. And of course we have our questions, we have our tech news, and lots of things concerning, which is probably the second big news this week. The first one being today's Fall Creators Update release. WPA2 hacked. So we're going to talk about that, and got tons of questions that I've received because of that. So we're going to talk about it and give the big picture of what's safe, what's not, and what's, you know, and the relative importance depending on what you do. So show number 93 for October 17, 2017. We are here every Tuesdays, 3 p.m. Eastern Time, and we talk about technology. That's 1900 hours UTC. Hope you have fun with the show today. So hello there everybody in the chat room. Christine Bowman, nice to have you here. Tim Robinson, Farney Jr., Albert Zappa, Josh Kinder. We have Bobby Burgess. We have David Walker. We have Haldan. Hello, Lindsay. Nice to have you here. Albert Zappa. What else? What else? Am I missing anyone here? Hope not. Say hi if I do. I want to say hello to everybody. Alex Tuttle. Hey there. And of course, Mr. Paul the Cat. Come on. Come on. Here we go, Mr. Cat, saying hello to everyone. Mr. Cat wanted to participate in today's show. So, yeah. It's when I was looking at the video comments, and I thought, well, I think you're a day early. Kefus Matthews, nice to have you here. And, of course, we will talk about technology today. So, Mr. Paul the Cat saying hi to everyone. He's been extremely really, you know, kind of always cuddling with me today. I don't know if it's the colder weather or anything. Rick Bass, have you tried in the last hour the media creation tool? It started at 2 p.m. Eastern, the rollout on the media creation tool. Before 2 p.m. Eastern time today, it was still giving out the old Creators Update. Now it's actually giving out the new Fall Creators Update. And yes, I did get your email, Alex, and we're going to talk about it. So we're going to really check it out. Cycler39, hello there. And it's really nice to see all of you. Of course, one of the things that's very important is donations. Helps me continue with what I do. And basically, if you enjoy my shows, PayPal donation at the paypal.me/shortwave is a great idea. You can also become a patron at patreon.com. Join 11 patrons that are pledging a little something every month, and of course this helps me out. Without donations I probably would not be here anymore, so it really helps me out. And let's cross our fingers also for AdSense monetization. Hopefully it's going to go well. So thanks everybody that have donated, and don't worry about it if you can't. And if you have never donated and you can't give something and you like what I do, why not think about it a little bit. Okay. Today is Fall Creators Update Day, we are getting the bits, downloading the bits, Windows Update getting the bits and everything. So basically, if you have a compatible PC, because that's pretty much the real question, you gotta be, your PC needs to have been tested compatible, basically. And oh man. So basically, some of you have got it already through Windows Update. If you don't, the media creation tool has been updated in the past hour. Donna Sarkar mentioned at around 2 p.m. Okay, we've got the updated, media creation tools updated and everything. So head on to the Microsoft page if you want to force it today. Have it right now. That's the way you're going to get it right now. Just go there and click either the upgrade process or download the image. You can use the media creation tool, download the image. Great time also if you want to update your bootable devices. So for example, if you've got a USB thumb drive that had creators update on it that you kept somewhere because you need to, just in case you needed to reinstall, it's time to update it now. Why not, update it with the fall creators update image. So if something goes wrong, you're immediately at the fall creators update. You don't have to, wait for that download to happen and everything. So it's time to update your media creation tool devices, be it a DVD, create a new one, or a USB thumb drive, basically, and you'll be put that away somewhere. In case your computer crashes, hard drive dies, something, you have it to, of course, upgrade your PC. Most people don't back up, but I strongly suggest to anyone that starts the process of going through the fall careers update, it is a good idea to back up before you do this, because there will be a possibility that it might crash your PC. There's no stats yet. It's still too early in the process, but I'm looking at the blogs. I'm looking at a lot of the blogs today. In the next few days, we're going to start seeing, are people having problems, issues? Is there something major happening? In the anniversary update, we saw that. In the days that followed, a lot of people were going crazy and saying, "Hey, man, there's it breaks my camera, breaks a lot of things." And the thing is, it can happen. Creators Update was rather good. I mean, it was amazing at how good quality that was to upgrade the computers and have them working fine. But still, it's something new. I've seen some posts of people that were on the Insider program that updated to 16.299.15 and .19, saying, well, I've got some problems with it. So this is kind of interesting, is it a sign that maybe there's a little more problems in the fall careers update? And actually that was mentioned briefly a few days ago in one of the shows that I watched on the internet. Somebody mentioning, well, I've heard reports of a higher rate of problems with the fall careers update. So anyways, we don't have anything right now that we can, really do anything about, but it's something that's a possibility. And in the next few days, I'll be updating my videos. I'll be talking about it. Today, I'll be making more videos after we end this show. This week, I'm going to start posting tons of videos on, features of the fall careers update. We're going to talk about some of the features, by the way, today, since it's the day for that. And we also going to try to see, how well is it going? Is there any issues? Are people reporting some problems or something? That we'll know only in a few days. We're going to start seeing. And of course, it's rolling really slow at the beginning. It's really, checking out and making sure that if it's in your Windows Update, it means that it already did some verifications of you know, your system is compatible. It's okay. You can do it. So it's you know, it's really nice. And David Walker says there's a flash update for cumulative update in the cumulative updates today also. So all of that is something that you know, is going to be there. And basically, of course, there's that issue of some people that don't want it, and I'm sure there are. You know, we are tech enthusiasts here. A lot of the people in the chat room are just excited and wanting to have it now. The average person says, well, you know, I'm not, you know, I'm scared, and you just said that maybe there's a higher rate of problems. How can I prevent it from happening? Well, in your settings in Windows 10, when you go to the network settings, you can activate metered connection. So metered connection is preventing it from arriving to your PC. As long as you're set on metered connection, you're not getting it. So if you stay on metered connection for 6 months, you won't have it. In the next 6 months, it won't show up. It prevents some of these updates from arriving. So you can really make sure that you you know, you just add the metered connection to either Ethernet or Wi-Fi, and you're gonna basically not get it. So that's a way to prevent it, and it's all right. You know, I mean, it's crazy because there's a lot of people that are scared, and it's totally normal. I mean, Microsoft has less than a stellar, beautiful way of upgrading. There's been a lot of times they updated and just basically didn't have any, it had tons of problems, and it scares people. This is a big update. It's even scarier for a lot of people because this update is clearly just, taking a lot of time and doing a lot of changes here. So I mean, it's okay. You know, people are scared, and it's quite all right. And if you want to wait, you just going to just put yourself in metered connection. See how it goes. See how people are, responding to the is it working? Is it not working or not? So and we'll see. Hey, Sean Robinson, nice to have you here. Brian Wilson, hello there, welcome aboard. And so it's something to wonder, and just it's quite all right. Farney Jr. I don't have beer. I'm drinking a flavored water. It's no beer at home today. And of course, like I said, hey Douglas Perry, Jedi Knight, nice to have you here. Patrick Manny, nice to have you here. So Douglas Elliott, and so it's ready. Some of you are having it through Windows Update right now. If you don't have it, you can force it through the media creation tool. Everything's been updated. I'll be posting a video of an install. I'll be doing like a clean install on one machine that I have here, just for the fun of it, so that you guys can see, an install process of the Fall Careers Update. And personally, honestly, if you are not a tech enthusiast, if you are not the kind of person that really feels like reinstalling Windows, or just doesn't know how to reinstall Windows, wait for it to arrive to a cumulative update. In the Creators Update, to the cumulative update, to the Windows Update. In the Creators Update, what we saw is that the people that had the most issues are the ones that pushed it in the Creators Update. Those that had wait for it to arrive on the Windows Update itself pretty much went smoothly for everybody. So, and let's hope that this is one that is actually going smoothly. A little later, we're going to look at some of the features that are worth checking out. And also for those that kind of update, because, for the average person, they're going to update and they'll say, well, I don't see no difference, It's why did I wait for an hour and a half for nothing? So we're going to show you a little bit of this stuff here. Carl Coombs, nice to have you here. on the Isle of Anglesey. Nice. So, what else do we have? What else do we have in our news? What about that WPA2 problem? This is something. And I've got some questions that are coming to me from two people about that. Alex Tuttle has some questions, and Tommy also has some questions. They pretty much connect together in the same type of questions. So we're gonna answer that, and later when I answer the questions, technically, we'll go very, very in depth with that WPA2 problem that was discovered. Actually, it was announced yesterday, but it was not discovered yesterday. I can tell you that. And basically, WPA2 is the security that is and was the most and the best encryption available for wireless routers, so Wi-Fi. It was technically unbroken for years. No one had any ways of, don't believe I saw tons of YouTube videos of people that is basically showing how to crack WPA2 and stuff like that, and those are fake videos. And nobody had cracked WPA2, no one. And basically, what happened is a researcher showed, hey, there's a flaw in the way that the packets are actually being sent out between routers and devices. And you can actually get there and start do what we call packet sniffing, which means we're looking at the packets and we're able to see what's in them. And basically, when you have a router, your router to your computer communicates with little chunks of data. That's what we call packets. So it's chunks of data sent at a very fast pace. What happens with WPA2 is the fact that it was found there's a flaw that enables anyone that wants to see the traffic, see what you're doing. If you're going on a website and you put a password on, stuff like that, they technically could see that. They can inject in it. They can inject packets and make you visit, for example, you ask for google.com and they actually inject a packet that gives you another website. You're redirected somewhere else. One thing that it is not, because I've heard some reports that are false. Reese Hodum, nice to have you here, by the way. One thing that you got to know, because I've seen people say, oh, well, they're going to change your routers, your router's configuration and passwords and stuff, and no, they cannot. That's not the way it works. They do packet sniffing or injecting, but they don't access actually the internet from your device. They just can interfere and look at the traffic between your devices, and that's it. They don't. It's not like the WEP, the old web protocol. That one, you could find the password for the router and you just connect. This is not like that. You can't find a password for the router. It doesn't work like that. What you have is basically a flaw that means somebody can snoop on what you're doing. And we're going to talk about this later in the show in the questions. We're going to really go through the questions and look specifically at the dangers that this will bring, because it's varying in danger depending on the device. Not all devices are full danger. Some are, for example, to give an idea, I told you there was packet sniffing to watch what you were doing, but there's also packet sniffing for that. In some cases, even when you're on a VPN or on a HTTPS secured page, that also had a possibility of, depending on how bad your device is compromised with this, even a VPN doesn't protect you. They can work around and still see what you're doing. but it depends on the device. Each devices are different. Some are at risk, but only at the possibility of packet sniffing if you're not encrypted on the web page or on what you're doing. If you don't use a VPN. It really depends. It really depends. And what's worse, and I think what's going to be the biggest problem here, old devices. I mean, the most recent devices, routers, PCs, our Windows PCs are already safe. You know, yesterday, it was funny because what happened is I had, well, pretty much everybody were thinking, oh, there's going to be a patch today. And everybody was kind of thinking, well, okay, there's going to be a patch today because of that flaw. Because Microsoft had said they would release a security bulletin. They thought it was a good idea. Let's release a security bulletin to talk about this. And usually when there's a security bulletin, it's because there's also an update. They're pushing an update. But yesterday, security bulletin appeared and no update. So we started looking and it's like, oh, it's already fixed. Microsoft knew about this. Last Tuesday, when we got our patches on Windows 10, 8.1, and 7, we already were safe. We were safe before everybody knew about it. Which is really cool, and it's surprising. I mean, everybody was kind of, wow, Microsoft did it immediately for the first time. It's like, wow. So basically, you're on Windows 10, Windows 8.1, or Windows 7. You have last week's patches installed. You're safe. You're safe. Even if your router's not, you're safe because your PC now doesn't work in the same way with WPA2 with your router. It changes the way that security is going on. So you're safe. You're all right. iOS. If you're on an iPhone, on an iPad, and you have the latest iOS updates, you are also safe. You are already updated with the problem is fixed on these devices. So if you're on the latest iPhones or iPads, you are okay. You typically are safe because of the security fix that they pushed there. What's unsafe is Android. Pretty much every device we have, you know, my Galaxy S7 is right now a WPA2 hackable. It doesn't have that update. Google has made an update available, but the problem is on Android, we get these updates so late that, you know, I mean, my Android device is going to be what? Patch at Christmas or something? So, what I've done is simply, and, you know, I've got a lot of data on my phone. So what I've really done is simply remove the Wi-Fi connectivity. I use it only on LTE. That makes me safe. And the worst thing you can do right now is to connect a device that is unpatched on a public Wi-Fi. Public Wi-Fis are the dangerous things right now. So basically, if you have an older device, if you have an Android phone or tablet, if you have something that is not patched, don't go on public Wi-Fi. That's where it's going to be the worst. Public Wi-Fis are the place where the bad guy's going to go. Why? Because there's always tons of people connected. You know, if you're a bad guy, you want to have personal info, personal stuff. One of the things that you got to understand is that you go where you will get the maximum amount of data available possible. And the way to do that is, well, go on a public Wi-Fi, go in places like that. These are the worst places right now, because every public Wi-Fi is compromised, pretty much. And if your device is compromised also, Android phone, Android tablet, public Wi-Fi is the worst place you can be right now. So this is the worst, probably the biggest problem and the biggest nightmare is that. The other problem is the updates, because not everything updates at the same pace, and some never gonna get updates. Now, one of the best things that can happen is that your router gets actually a firmware update, because that now means that even your Android phone that's not secure communicates in a secure way with your router. So that's good. And so if you have a recent router, I think the best thing you can do is to go and check out the manufacturer's website from time to time this week and next week and the next few weeks. And basically that's the that's the best thing that can happen. Get an update for your router. But the thing is, if your router is several years old, you might never get an update on your router. I mean, manufacturers are really quick at just not updating these devices. So, you might be in a moment where, okay, my manufacturer is not going to update the router. Then what do? Well, if your devices are patched, you're pretty safe. It would be a problem if your router communicates with your devices that are unpatched. So you got a old Android tablet or phone that's on, version 4 or something, and that will never get it fixed. And you have an old router that's 6-7 years old that will never get it fixed. Well, these two devices will always be vulnerable to packet sniffing and basically to injecting of pages and even files. So, but we're going to talk a little more in detail with different things about that a little later, as we'll answer the questions of Tommy and Alex Tuttle. Okay, and there's, like Patrick Manny says, how much info do hackers need? He just got 143 million users, and that is true. I mean, in a sense, it is much worse the Equifax hacking of 145 million users than the WPA2 hack. WPA2 hack will, if you for example have a if you have a what I was saying here, yeah. So if you have a your information has been compromised, it's very limited, and if you use two-factor authentication everywhere, you're pretty safe. Two-factor authentication, if they steal your passwords through Wi-Fi, the WPA2 packet sniffing thing, doesn't really matter because you're just at two-factor authentication. And basically it's just still safe because they have the password, but they don't have that device that you use for two-factor. That's why two-factor is cool, because in moments like these where you might be vulnerable to something, it's really interesting, because you're staying safe even though people are stealing your password, at least. Equifax and TransUnion. What about this really bizarre thing? So we got 145 million. If that's not already bad enough, 145 million people that have a lot of personal data out there now. I mean, if your name is in that list, they pretty much know everything they need about you to do pretty much what they want. And so it's crazy because it's something that I think they really need, and they showed us that they were careless about security pretty much. Now, this week we learned that, well, last week we learned that people go to the website, Equifax website, with TransUnion, but it started with the Equifax one. Somebody went to Equifax on the page where you can actually modify your personal information because there are some mistakes in your in that credit report, and he got a pop-up of a fake browser update. or a fake flash update problem. And you're like, what? What is that? So, of course, the first news that appeared on a lot of major tech sites was, oh, Equifax got hacked again. But then in the same day, somebody says, wait, I went to TransUnion, which is kind of a competition with Equifax. And he said, on TransUnion, I got the same thing. I got a fake Flash Player update page. So they haven't been compromised a second time, but they're obviously using an ad network for ads on their websites that probably got compromised. So they got tons of shit appearing on their web pages, but they haven't been compromised again. And concerning that thing, Patrick Manny says Equifax to protect IRS accounts. What a crock! They finally canceled that contract because that was kind of stupid. I mean, that shows how government things are really run badly. The IRS in the United States, the Internal Revenue Service, had a $7.2 million contract with Equifax. Funniest thing, they awarded that contract at a point where the Equifax was already, they had a major data breach. So what happened is they awarded the contract, and in my head it was like, this is nonsense. You have a company that's careless with security, obviously, that's got a major hack, and you are awarding a contract to these guys that are just done with security? What the hell is that? So when last week the fake update pages appeared, they said, oh, wait a minute, we're gonna freeze that contract for a second. And today, this morning, I did read that the IRS finally pulled the contract. Said, no, we're not using you guys for security of accounts and for verification of personal data. If obviously you can't do that, you can't handle your security. How the hell you're going to handle what we're asking for? So that our IRS protection contract has been removed. They're not getting it, which is a really good idea, I think. Okay, but it's just crazy. Why did you? Anyways, government contracts are always really complicated and kind of dumb sometimes. In other bits of news, we have Microsoft Edge that is on our devices. So if you have an iPhone, of course, you can have Microsoft Edge. If you have an Android device now, you can get Edge. You see the little Edge icon right there on the upper right corner here. And of course, Microsoft Edge browser is pretty cool. Actually, I really like it a lot. It's a very fast browser, actually. And it really is amazingly good at rendering. Actually, I found that it is tons of times faster than Google Chrome for Android. It's tons of times better at rendering the pages correctly. And you've got the added bonus that it's super easy to just press down on the little button here on the bottom and say, oh, I want to share with my device here, for example. And so I wanted to open Tarat's webpage, and here you go. Tarat's webpage is opening. Very fast, very efficient. I will have a separate video about it, by the way. But I think it's a nice move from Microsoft to have decided to port the Microsoft Edge browser to our devices. I think it's really nice, and I really like it. And hey, Alexander Herrick, hello there. Coming to your question later. We haven't got there yet, Alexander. I'll answer your question later. So, anyways, it's cool to see that Microsoft Edge is ported to devices, and I think it's going to be nice to see how it works. So I don't know, Patrick. In my case, Microsoft Edge works really well on my PC, so I find it works as well on PC than it is on my phone. But it's amazing. On Android, I changed my my default. I like Edge much better than Chrome actually on Android right now. The rendering also of the screen is nice. It's really better. So really cool to see that. Okay, hey, how many of you guys love in-app purchases? I sure don't. I hate it when, you know, I play a game and I got some games. I like to play games on my phone from time to time. And you know, you get to that. So there's one game right now that I'm playing, and it's driving me nuts because then when you get stuck, you got 5 chances, and then it says, well, those 5 chances are going to reset in 6 hours. And you're like, okay, well, I took my 5 chances. Or you can, you know, you can reset those 5 chances right now for 99 cents. And you're like, huh, no, I don't want to do that. I'm not going to pay to reset my chances. Well, there's a lot of tension with this because a lot of people were going a little crazy and saying, well, you know what, in-app purchases are horrible, they shouldn't exist. We should have a flat fee for an app, say $5.99, and you got the app and you got everything and that's it. Well, it ain't gonna happen because we're learning that a lot of cash is going through in-app purchases in what we call, of course, microtransactions that are small transactions of like $1, $2, you know, and it works well for them because there's a very simple reason for that. In-app purchases, and you got to say, in-app purchases tempt a lot of people because they're inexpensive. And you know, I see the thing where, okay, you want to sell your game $10, or let's sell it 99 cents or give it free and have 99 cents or $1 or $2 micro payments in it that can unlock things. So a lot of people fall into that panel because it's like, oh, it's only $1. I'll unlock this for $1. And then at the end of, you know, the end of the year, some people have spent hundreds, some people thousands of dollars in-app purchases. Yes, go ahead, Brian Wilson, for the Facebook page. Absolutely. There's the Windows Insider Facebook page that Brian Wilson has created, where we all can post things. So absolutely. So anyways, the thing is, it's driving a lot of people crazy, but it's here to stay. Some companies actually make 70% of all their revenue with in-app purchases, with microtransactions. It's totally nuts. You know, I know people that have spent hundreds of dollars on things for games because they just don't want to wait for it. You know, I'm not an in-app purchase guy usually. I don't usually want to do in-app purchases because I rather, you know, use the, and there's a, I find that there's a way of having fun just waiting, you know. And by the way, Brian, I'm going to give you administrator privileges. So if you want to post the link directly into the page, here you go. You got moderator status, Brian. Now you can actually just copy paste the link to the Facebook page directly. So anyways, you know, I actually find it more interesting to just play and try to unlock levels by myself, even though sometimes I gotta wait. And you know, it's just crazy when you think about it, all the money they make here. But you know, I did some in-app transactions with, like, for example, Pokemon Go or stuff like that for some things, and the reason I did it was because, you know, I've got the Android survey thing where they ask me questions about, you know, where I go and what I do. So I actually end up having, I have like $30 in Google Play credit. So for me, it's not like I'm not, you know, I don't have the feel of, even though it's money for the app and for the company, I don't have the same impression of actually paying for something. But you know, I think it would be better if a you know, I like games that okay, it's $10, you got everything, and that I like, because it's, you know, I rather pay once and then have the game than, you know. And I like, honestly, I also like personally, and don't mind at all, the ads. You know, when you want to unlock something and they say, well, okay, you gotta wait. You can wait. You can pay $1, or you can display a 30-second ad for another game. That I find okay. You know, I mean, okay, show me the ad, and then I'll be able to continue. I have no problem with, and you know, it's a way for them to make money. So, but I mean, it's here to stay. They're making a lot of cash with this. Totally. Bitcoin mining is it's getting very, very interesting in the news with Bitcoin mining. I mean, a company was a security company, was looking at websites. You know, a lot of people will be complaining to some websites, and you know, the first example that came out a few weeks ago was the Pirate Bay, which is a torrent site. So basically, the thing with the Pirate Bay is people were going there. They see that their CPU usage goes to 100%, and they were wondering, what the hell's happening? Why is my computer, you know, running at maximum while I'm at that website? Well, it turns out that they have cryptocurrency mining on the page. They have a little script that mines for Bitcoins with your computer when you go there. Well, the security company started looking at many websites. They did a roundup of 100,000 websites. And after looking at 100,000 websites, they said 4% of the top most visited sites actually mine for Bitcoin using your PC's power. And that they make, like, they were saying, for example, that the Pirate Bay seems to be making about $12,000 a month mining Bitcoins on other people's computers, which is crazy. And they say that some are making a lot of money with that. So there's a lot of there's a lot of talk of this, of, you know, how can you use other people's computer power without their knowledge, and without actually at least asking them, can I use some of your PC's CPU cycles to do something? There's kind of a crooked side to this. There's something not right about it. And I mean, it's your PC. You shouldn't, you know, it shouldn't be, it should be clear. I would not mind if on the page they tell me, oh, I want to, by the way, when you visit here, I am actually using part of your PC's power while you're visiting for Bitcoin mining to make money. And, you know, maybe explain, well, instead of having ads, we have Bitcoin mining here, and we use part of your PC's power while you're using the website. Okay, maybe if you're clear and you tell me right smack in the face, okay, you're doing Bitcoin mining when I go there? Huh, okay. Okay. Well, you know, I don't know. But right now, pretty much every website that does this don't at all tell you. So you get to that page and you find that your PC is really working hard, you know, and oh, cryptocurrency mining. Kind of a dishonest way here of doing things. Well, we got our first Redstone 4 build. For those that are in the Insider program, we had build 17017 pop up last week on Friday afternoon, which is kind of cool. We're moving ahead now into the future of Windows. So, well, as people are today getting the Fall Careers update, we are already starting to get builds and see the future of Windows, basically. And don't forget, for those that wonder, you know, how useful the Insider program is. Well, the Fall Careers update everybody's getting today is kind of, you know, changed and fixed thanks to insiders, thanks to our comments, thanks to the feedback, thanks to, you know, millions of insiders testing those builds right now. So it's kind of crazy when you think about it. And so we're already moving ahead, and you know, a couple of new features. The one that I can't recreate, it seems, because I'm in Canada, is the Cortana thing, where they actually you know, kind of, Cortana puts like everything that you do, and she can actually summarize what you do often and try to help you out. Something like Cortana Moments or something. I'm trying to remember the name. The other one that I find interesting, I actually thought that was great. Having the in the settings, the on-off switch for all the apps that start up with your PC. I think that's super. I think that idea is amazingly good. And so we're slowly moving ahead. We'll also be seeing a, of course, you know, the part 2 of Fluent Design, and just for those that are having some issues by downloading and everything on the Microsoft for Fall Careers update and everything, don't forget that right now there must be like a lot of downloads going on, so there could be some problems right now. But anyways, we're moving ahead into the future of Windows, and Redstone 4, which has no name yet except the code name Redstone. Still thinking that it's going to be March 2018. Okay, interesting little story here with Microsoft and the Department of Justice in the United States. So it all started a couple of years back. Department of Justice in the United States says to Microsoft, here's a warrant, here's the information we want to have about these users. Microsoft has to comply, so they give out the information, but the Department of Justice comes back and says, no, that's not everything. And Microsoft starts arguing, well, that's everything stored in US servers. So they say, well, by the way, hello there, friendly wanderer, and I say, have you here? So, you know, of course, Microsoft says, well, the Department of Justice says, no, when we give you a warrant, it's for everywhere in the world that you have data upon, with these people. Microsoft comes back, says, Department of Justice is for everything in the United States. But what's stored everywhere else in the world, that warrant isn't good. We're not going to give you that data. Of course, it's going to court. Goes to court, and now we learn that it's going to Supreme Court. So, of course, both sides, Department of Justice saying, no, when we have a warrant and we ask for information, US companies, even if their servers are in other countries, they have to give the information of all the servers around the world that pertaining to whatever we ask for. And Microsoft going, of course, there because saying, no, I'm sorry, but the US government does not have jurisdiction on anything or anywhere else than on US territory. They cannot ask us to give information of the servers in the UK or in another part of the world. It's not US territory. Your request is invalid when it's not on US territory. And you know, that's pretty much the fighting going on between the big companies right now, Apple, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, against the US government that thinks that he can get pretty much everything he wants. So that's going to be an interesting thing to follow and to check out exactly what is going to happen with that in the future, for sure. Okay, Microsoft Edge, a little bit more of Microsoft Edge for security reasons. So, security company took Microsoft Edge, Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox browsers. They pushed those three browsers through 36,000 pages, web pages, that would actually lure you into going to download fake Flash player or fake web updates or some kind of file download, try to lure you into doing bad things to infect PCs. Well, Microsoft Edge actually came on top, and by a pretty far margin. I mean, Microsoft Edge avoided 91% of all of these web pages, saying, oh no, this is bad, you don't want to go there. And the closest was Chrome after that. And Chrome was at something like 67%. And then Firefox at like 61%. So what is interesting about that is, okay, that would seem that the filters in Microsoft Edge are actually really good. And kind of tells you, well, you know what, maybe Microsoft's right when they say Microsoft Edge is the most secure browser of all. And kind of interesting test, at least. Questions, and now we are at the tough questions. We're gonna talk about, and Tommy and Alex Tuttle, sorry, have questions concerning the impact of WPA2. And we're going to actually talk about it now and kind of give an idea of how bad this is. How bad is the WPA2 hack that was discovered? So that thing is called crack. It was discovered by a security researcher. He even showed a proof of concept, meaning he showed you could do it, how to do it. And of course, WPA2 has been our friend for years. I mean, I don't even remember when WPA2 started, you know, getting on our routers, but it's been a long time. And funny thing is how, you know, I thought about this a long time ago. I remember as a tech guy, when I was in the prime time of my tech guy, thinking someday somebody's gonna find a flaw in there. They found one in WEP. It's only an amount of time. It's impossible that code could be such perfect code that nothing can go through. And I always thought about WPA2 one day going to be something hackable, and we're there now. WPA2 is a flaw. Now it's a fixable flaw. They have a fix already, and it's a flaw that affects everything. So to answer one question when I say this, Tommy says, well, the company, they have a you know, router modem which is updated by the internet service provider. So his idea here is, well, if it's always updated because they told me so, it must be fixed. No, it's not. It's not, because any rented or any device that is from the ISP, basically, these updates are like they're usually really far behind in updates. And so you are probably at risk even with that device. Everything is at risk. Pretty much everything that connects Wi-Fi is at risk, but with varying degrees. So the worst affected of all is Android, and not all versions of Android, once again, are at the same level too. So some versions of Android are worse off than others, but some of them are still hackable, but it's more difficult. So there's varying degrees of hackability, if you want to, if I can say so, of devices. But at the most basic form of this, okay, now that we know it's unsecure, bad guys that really want to exploit this are going to exploit this, and probably are already. I mean, bad guys are usually looking at this news and saying, oh my god, here we got something to steal personal data from everybody. The thing is, and that's how it is, okay? So Tommy's got router at home. Thing is, first of all, you got to be on Wi-Fi, okay? If you're on the Ethernet and you don't have any Wi-Fi devices, well, if you have a router, turn off Wi-Fi first of all, because even if you would not have a flaw. Anybody that has a router that is Wi-Fi and that is plugged in with Ethernet cable should anyways disable the Wi-Fi antennas. You have no, there's no, I don't see why you should be transmitting Wi-Fi, which everybody can see, if you are always connected with cable, basically, because you're not using it. So might as well deactivate it. So, and I've done that many times. I fixed some enterprise PCs or some companies I went to that they had, everything was connected with wires, and their Wi-Fi router was on and sending out packets. Well, why do you want to basically to have Wi-Fi if you're not using it at all? It's just an added security risk. Now, you use Wi-Fi, you're at home. What's the dangers because you're home? And that's where I think we gotta just relax a little bit like we talked earlier. Like earlier we were saying, there are 4 worst things right now, and the far worst thing is the Equifax data breach. That's like a million times worse than what WPA2 can do in general. For everybody that is at home, I'm using a Wi-Fi router right now. So okay, my Windows PC is fixed. My Windows PCs are fixed. I know that. So this gives me some security. But I mean, my phone, if I put it on Wi-Fi, there's a security risk now between my router and my phone. So these packets can be sniffed out, and you can see what I do here. Apple TV, my Apple TV, or my any little device like that is not fixed. So there's a possibility that they can sniff out on that. But the idea is that for a home user, the danger of being hacked, and like I said, they can't take control of your device really much. They could inject a fake web page with ransomware possibility. Mostly what they'll do in most cases is see what you are doing, and in some cases it might not even be possible, because if you're on HTTPS while you're on a page, it's an encrypted page. In some cases you're already secure enough that it's okay. You use a VPN, in many cases you're already secure enough also. And think about it. You're at home. A bad guy isn't going to start going down the street and sniff packets of every house. You know, it's a wasted time. And it's a waste of time because he's going to see packets of what? Google searches, you know, boring Facebook pages of people, the occasional porn site that this or that guy is looking at. I don't know. There's really not that much that you can sniff out from a home user's perspective. What will be a possibility if maybe there's, you know, a neighbor that's kind of good with technology, a little kid, or, you know, some neighbor that's an enthusiast and just wants to you know, basically test out the possibilities of, wow, oh really, look at that, I can check out the things of the neighbors. The security risk at home, I think, is extremely small. I mean, you know, I'm not going to turn off my Wi-Fi. It's on. My router is one of the routers, like pretty much every router, that's affected by it. So for a perspective of home users, perspective that you also have a very limited range for the Wi-Fi. I mean, after going, you know, 1 or 2 houses, you basically can't connect anymore. So for home users, I think it's let's not go crazy. I don't think, for not, you know, most part, no one will really have problems with that. So don't go crazy over the WPA2 problem. I don't think you should, you know, have any. I don't think you should have any, you know, turn off your Wi-Fi or do anything like that. Now that said, I want to stress out that any security vulnerability is a security vulnerability. You have a risk of something. So of course, I always say be proactive about your security. You're the one that keeps yourself secure, in the most part, with most things. So that means, well, take the time to, you know, first of all, update your Windows machines. You're going to be safe. Windows 7, Windows 8.1, and Windows 10 are safe if you have the patch Tuesday of last week. It already is fixed there. So if your PC is updated and connecting to the router that's not fixed, it's all right. It's all right. The thing is, in there is already that's okay. What is insecure is what's not updated yet. So if you have a, you know, an Android device, check your updates from time to time. Make sure you update the latest security. At some point, if you have a device that's not too old, you'll have that security update that's going to fix this. Now this affects Wi-Fi, and it's very important to understand Wi-Fi, because if you connect to the cell connectivity, so right now my Wi-Fi is off on this device. I am connected through LTE cell connection. There's no security risk there. It's Wi-Fi that is affected, because Wi-Fi has WPA2. LTE does not have the same configuration, does not have the same way of connecting. So you're not at risk on Wi-Fi. Alex Tuttle says, Gilles, what if you do more than a home user or you know, have a file server or network attached storage? Well, that's the thing. What is interesting to understand with this, and also that limits part of its problem, if you aren't accessing files or anything, you're the guy that tries to get and sniff the packets cannot access your NAS file server. It can't access your network attached storage. It doesn't have the control of it. What it has is the possibility to see what you're doing and possibly inject something that might trick you into doing something bad. But he doesn't have control. He's not getting in there and checking everything you have. It's not the way it works. So he doesn't have control. He just has the ability to see what's happening with the packets. And that's it. That's it. So he's not going to get in there. He's not going to see your files unless you access a file through your Wi-Fi network. You access a file in your Wi-Fi network, he could technically see the file that you were doing, but that has to be done over Wi-Fi. Once again, anything that's within Ethernet is totally safe. So the best thing that you can do is to ensure that whatever device you have, you check for updates. Or, you know, the major issue with this is on the router side. No one updates his router, okay, except for geeks like us. Okay, I'm a geek. I update my router when there's a new firmware. Oh, cool, new firmware. I want to have it. Why? Because in there are some security fixes. In there's also improvements. Sometimes if your router's crashing all the time because of something, and your router update will, you know, often give you the possibility, you know. And you know, geeks update their routers. And I think if you're one of those people that updates the routers, you're a geek, okay? You're a geek. But 90% of the people, the regular folks, have no idea that the router has a firmware. Have no idea that a router has some you know, software in it, for sure. So basically, every device that you use, your router, and every device that you connect with. Hello there, by the way, Kevin Bragdon. Check for updates on all of your devices. And slowly, if your devices aren't very old, slowly but surely, one device at a time, you'll be updated and secured, and it'll be over. It'll be something of the past. Okay? The biggest issue with that is in 2 points. Devices that will never get an update. So there are tons of things that connect to Wi-Fi that will never have an update. Those at risk, as long as your Wi-Fi, your router is not patched. Now, even those that are at risk, okay, can basically be safe if your router's firmware at least is updated, because once your router's firmware will be updated, they will communicate in a way that it's impossible to snip the packets. So even if you have half of your devices that are not safe, but your router has been updated, you're safe. You can say you're safe. As long as you don't connect these devices to an unsafe router or an unsafe device that's not patched also. One of the things that they were demonstrating, and you know, these are things that we don't think about. Look at all the printer, the wireless printers today. They were showing in a proof of concept, for example, that it was possible for somebody to print garbage on your printer. So they would be able to inject into that, you know, the Wi-Fi packets, a little something that's gonna make your printer print all tons of pages of garbage, basically. So you know, update every device that you have that is updatable. That's the way it's gonna be. The danger will be in devices that will never be updatable. If you got a router that's 10 years old, hey, you're not getting an update for your router. And if you're using an Android device, or I don't know, some kind of streaming box, you know, those Chinese streaming box that never get updated, and plus the fact that you're on a router that's not well, yeah, they could sniff the packets, but then again, you know, you got to also remember, what is the traffic going on between these devices? For example, if you have an unsecured network, like an unsecured router and an unsecured media box, and all you do is stream videos, so what? What the hell? They're gonna sniff what? Video, playing back video of packets. You know, it's like, who cares? You're not doing anything except streaming videos. That's uninteresting for pretty much bad guys. And remember, once again, at home the risk remains very, very small. Where you should not connect right now, and that's probably the highest security risk of all in there, is the public Wi-Fi. Public Wi-Fi right now is a huge risk. That's where you'll get your stuff stolen. And if you just go there and don't really do anything bad, you just, you know, Google search something or whatever, use Google Maps, it ain't too bad. It's just that the packet sniffing and the injection could technically make you see a page which is not the one that you wanted, but a page that bad guys want you to go to and install some bad software, for example. So basically, you know, Kevin Bragdon says they'll find out I watched the movie Howard the Duck 5 times in a week. Yeah, that very useful information. So anything that is Wi-Fi. So Alex, you're talking about a work public Wi-Fi. Once again, devices need to be patched. They will need to be patched on enterprise, everywhere. So these need to be patched as soon as possible. And the devices used on it also needs to be patched. And one last question that I had that somebody asked is, yeah, but what about standalone? I'm not connected to a public Wi-Fi or router. Is my device at risk? Your device, to be at risk, needs to communicate through Wi-Fi with something. It could technically be at risk if you would communicate in Wi-Fi with two devices directly that are unpatched. Then they would see traffic going here. But you see the limit of that WPA hacking, because of, once again, they can't take control of your device. All they can do is see what you're doing. Once again, not everything every device is equal in the dangers. So it has a limit, but it is a serious, I think it's a serious enough situation to at least tell you something. It's a serious moment telling us, look, we've got WPA2 and nothing more than that. And if you have one flaw there, I mean, we're all using one and only one security right now. There needs to be more than that. There needs to be, you know, in a case like this, there needs to be a, oh, well, a WPA2 was hacked. Go to that other new protocol that routers have also, and connect with that one and you'll be okay. You know, when WEP got hacked, which surprised a lot of people because they were thinking it was unhackable, by the way. The web was apparently unhackable when they actually created it. And it'd be found to be one of the worst security nightmares ever. They had to move forward with security. You know, web is much worse. Web is you get the password from that person and you connect and do whatever you want. That is, web is a real security nightmare for people that would do that. But apart from that, there's a limit to what these guys can do on WPA2's problem. And if you have two-factor authentication, even if they had stolen your password, well, they still need that device of yours to be able to connect. You need that second authentication. Tim Brennan, nice to have you here. Stephen Gore, nice to have you here. Everybody's been, Daniel Walsh, nice to have you here. Pretty much everybody's enjoying a download and install of the Fall Careers Update, basically. So I hope it answers your questions, guys. And for that very difficult question of how long it's going to take for everybody to be patched, a really long time. I'll give you an idea. Alex Tuttle has a great question here. Says, what about Wi-Fi on TVs? Here, this TV has Wi-Fi. I've got apps in here. This TV, I don't think will ever get an update. So technically, this TV is a risk. Now, that said, all they're going to see if they want to sniff the packets that this TV sends and receives, Netflix movies and shows, and YouTube videos, and the occasional streaming from within my network of some TV shows I've got recorded or movies I've got recorded on my PC. So, you know, it's a security risk, yeah. But then again, when I get a firmware update on my router, no more security risk, because now it's back to communicating in a safe way. Even if that one is not, you know, fixed. As long as it's connecting to a fixed router, it'll be okay. But if I sell this TV to somebody else that has an unpatched router, it becomes again a security risk. But once again, it all depends what you do. You know, your security is, okay, what kind of traffic are you going to view from my stuff? If you're going to your bank every day with an unsecured device on an unsecured router, okay, well, they might sniff all the information needed to you know, get into your bank account. Yeah, absolutely. Even though it's a secure page, if your device is at one of the worst security devices, you will have the possibility of that being stolen. Once again, in a lot of cases, the flaw isn't you know, bad enough to bypass the HTTPS or VPNs. So in many cases, a VPN or HTTPS on a website, like a banking site, secure site, that encrypts the data, kind of protects you already somehow. So, you know, you gotta put it in perspective and just not go crazy about that, basically. And I think, I think you just gotta, you know, be careful with this. Well, thank you, Alex. And, you know, it's very, very important. It's very important to still, you know, like I say, we got to be proactive with this. If you have a router, if you don't know how you know, update the firmware of your router, ask for somebody that has the knowledge to do it. Basically, Sam Gibson, nice to have you here. Ask for someone that can help you out in the event of, you know, updating your firmware on the router. The biggest security you'll have is probably within our devices that get updated. So any phone, any tablet you have, any computer you have, whatever, you know, somebody asked me, oh, this affects only Windows. No, it affects Macs. It affects Linux. It affects anything that connects WPA2. It doesn't have a operating system of choice. It has just a protocol of choice. WPA2. So somebody on Linux thinking he's secure not updated is Linux operating system. And by the way, I know Debian had an update, and I think there's a few updates out there for any Linux machines right now that are fixing it. So if you use Linux, check for updates for your Linux distro. There's a good chance that updates you're going to get already fixes that on your Linux machine. But say you do some really, banking stuff and some really important stuff on a Linux machine unpatched, on a router unpatched, security risk. You can sniff out the packets. It doesn't care what operating system you're using. It cares about the data going from point A to point B of unpatched wireless devices. That's it. Not the one. Hello there. Nice to have you here. Yeah, that could happen. Software that crashes after a big update. Have you tried reinstalling your accounting software just for the fun of it? Maybe it could fix things. And it's kind of interesting. As for the update of router, the 90% of routers are not patching themselves automatically at all. So 90% of routers, you got to do it manually. 90% of routers, you have to go to the manufacturer. You have to know how to get into. Imagine the complexity of this thing for that. Routers should auto-update. There's a small percentage of routers that actually do. If you use the newest technology, mesh routers, these update themselves. You got nothing to do. They auto-update their own firmware, which is the best thing that can happen, basically. But a lot of the routers out there, including mine, you have to go to the manufacturer. You got to download the firmware and the right one for your version. You got to know how to go inside your router, and inside your router you got to go to that firmware thing and download the firmware, install the firmware. It's a hell of a lot of a complex thing for 95% of everybody around the world, and that is probably going to be one of the issues here. And there will be devices that will never be updated. If you've got a Albert Zappa and Tommy also had that question, I think. When you have a modem from a cable company like Spectrum, do they update it for you? If it's a modem / router, so it's a modem that has a router with Wi-Fi integrated in the same device, these devices technically update themselves from the company itself. They usually receive during the night updates. It's not 100% sure though, and you better check with your ISP. But a lot of them do auto update, absolutely. So the thing to understand here is to hold on to your horses, don't go crazy. Just relax. It's not that big of a problem if you're a user at home. Chances of something bad happening is not that bad. Avoid at all costs public Wi-Fi with a device that's not fixed, because that's where the risk is. And basically that will be a problem especially if you do something bad. If you just go there and Google something, okay, it doesn't matter. But don't do banking stuff and don't do things that are very sensitive. Remember going to your accounts, and remember, when I say be proactive with your security, also means make yourself more secure. Everything I use is two-factor authentication. Password, secret code. Password, approve. All my Google accounts is an approve. I enter, it says you got to approve on your phone. So if I would be insecure in a public Wi-Fi, they find out my main Google account password. Well, once they get in there, it's going to say, well, I don't recognize this device, so you need to you need to say yes on that phone. Check your phone. And even if they choose other things, it was, oh, well, we'll send you a code by text, or we'll send you a code in that email. So you still don't have access. You need two-factor. That increases your security. So they find out your password, who cares? They can't get in anyway. Two-factor authentication protects you. So two-factor is amazingly good. And I think it's being proactive like that with your own security, that even when something like this happens, kind of doesn't scare you that much, because it's like, well, I'm already ahead of everybody. Hey there, Fred P. Nice to have you here. So, and if you have, of course, once, like I say, it's router, it's Wi-Fi. So, if you have a separate router from your modem is not affected. Your modem is a different thing. And right now, what we know is what's fixed. Some Linux machines start to have the updates. Not all distros, but many of them started to have the update. Our Windows machines are safe with last week's patch Tuesday. And iOS, iPads, iPhones, latest version, you are safe also. I'd say the worst security risk right now is on our Android devices. That shows the intricate flaws of Android, not being able to update as you wish. Google says they have an update and it's going to be pushed. Google yesterday said that the update is going to be pushed in November. That means Google devices will have it in November. This won't have it before what? December, January? That's the crazy thing. Android is probably the worst affected by all of this right now, because of the way that it just doesn't, really update well. What is the best provider options in Canada for ISPs? Very difficult question. I haven't looked at internet service providers in Canada for a very, very long time. I've typically been with Videotron, which is a Quebec one. Before I was on Bell, and which I really hated. And I'm happy to not be on Bell anymore. Basically, I'm kind of getting screwed by the cable company, which, internet, and I mean, my internet service and everything is fantastic, and speed and everything. It's just dreadfully expensive. And so, I don't know. I think it's I've seen over the years with oh, thanks for the donation, Tim. Much appreciated. The thing here is, there's small ISPs, there's smaller ISPs that give, service at lower price. There's a lot of different choices. Over the last 20 years of going to clients, it's I've seen tons of ISPs, smaller and bigger. They're not all equal, that's for sure, but I think when you use a technology that is well known, fiber, for example, if the provider is actually using fiber up to your home, whatever company is going to be fine, probably. But I can't really, and I don't want to, even here, even if I do know that my Videotron connection is really good, if somebody asks me, what company should I use, I'm not gonna raise my hand and say, oh, use Videotron. I'm like, it's dreadfully expensive. I got 120 gigabits down and 20 gigabits up, plus I don't know, something like 60 channels on cable. With pay TV, it cost me and I just got the bill, $172 a month. $172 a month. Gives you an idea of how expensive it is, and it's dreadfully expensive. TOT, nice to have you here. Hope you're having a good day also. And you know, it's really completely crazy. But I am getting, you know, if I do a speed test, I am getting 120 down and 20 up. It is always max speed here. They don't throttle. If I download with whatever thing I use, it's always max speed, and I've got no data cap. I'm unlimited. Though I could live with a 1 terabyte data limit, but I'm unlimited. I was curious. I looked at my data usage this week for the past 3 months to see how much data I'm using. And it's funny because I do these shows and I do a lot of YouTube videos, so it's, you know, I'm the reverse of everybody. When you look at my data that I use, I send out twice as much data as I receive when on my internet connection, which is just funny. And basically, I've been averaging about 500 gigabytes a month for my connection, and so, you know, I could live with a 1 terabyte. They tell me 1 terabyte, it's okay, but I am really the reverse of everybody. I send out 2 times more data than I receive, which is totally the reverse what everybody does. Everybody receives 90% of their data and sends out 10%. That's why the outboard speed is always slower, because they know that people don't send out a lot of stuff. And you know, I'm different. I do live shows. You know, a live show like this, if I do a 2-hour live show like this, I just sent out about 4 gigabytes, 4 to 5 gigabytes of data. And so you know, you got to calculate all the live shows, all the HD videos I post on the YouTube channels. It amounts really fast. Bennett W, nice to have you here, says, I always use the update tool provided by Microsoft. Is the Fall Creators update displayed as feature update? If you use the update tool, the Microsoft tool that they have on the page, media creation tool, it's all updated. You can click just the update button, and it's going to update yourself to the latest version. And technically, they always call these updates feature updates. So kind of interesting. As we are in the question, one last question I have is best software to find duplicates by Alexander Herrick. Alexander, one that I've used many times, and it's cool because it works on every platform that you might want to use it on. Dupe Guru, D-U-P-E Guru, okay, at hardcoded.net/dupe guru. So you got the name here. I don't know if you can see it. Let me just check if we can see the name here. Let me just make this page bigger so you guys can see. So here you go, Dupe Guru. This is one of the best, and what's really nice, so it's going to find duplicates. It's going to find duplicates even if the name isn't exactly the same. It's still going to find duplicates, which is nice. And what's very cool, it's current version 4.0.3. What's really cool here is it works for Mac, it works for Windows, for Ubuntu, they have the source package. So be it a Mac computer, a Linux machine, a Windows 32 or 64-bit machine, they have versions for everyone. And they even have the source package here. So really, and there's even others, which I'd be curious to see. I wouldn't be surprised they even have Android and iOS, or mostly Android version. But Dupe Guru is what I recommend to find duplicates, and it works really, really well. And it's even going to highlight duplicates that don't even have the same exact name. So check that out. It's the software to get for that. And actually, you made me think about it, and I will be doing a feature video about it probably later today, and post the link in the description below that video I'm going to talk about. Mohammed Havdik, nice to have you here, and pretty cool to have all of you. And you should have, Mohammed, you should have a cumulative update. No, it doesn't reinstall. It's just about a it's just a cumulative update, Mohammed. It's not a big update. Alex, about the stream, the Steam problem on my desktop. I did open virtual machine with Windows 7, no problem, and no dropout in HD. Kind of interesting. Yeah, I've been following that those emails you've been sending me about how the YouTube streaming and everything, how it varies. It's very weird. It's actually very, very weird. It's kind of interesting. So, you know. So today is the Fall Careers Update release, and I thought that I'd talk about some of the best features of the Windows 10 Fall Careers Update before we go to the bad and the good news of the week. So what do we have of some of the interesting stuff? Control folder access. So within your antivirus, there's a thing called control folder access. Let's, once again, I don't know if you guys will see it well, but if we go to the antivirus, now here I'm on 17.017, so I don't know if it's all going to be the same, but when you go to your device protection in your antivirus in the bottom right, virus and threat protection will be there, and you will have, yeah, that's the, change it I think here. Yeah, I don't have all the things here. So, but if you are on a, okay, here it is. So if you are going to the virus and threat protection settings, you will have something that's called control folder access. If you turn that on, you will protect your your regular folders, documents, music, you know, videos, pictures, whatever, with control folder access, which means a software to make a modification needs to have permission. So it's thought that this will actually protect you if you get ransomware, because the ransomware is not going to get, it doesn't have it isn't one of the pieces of software that you actually give permission to. It won't be able to actually encrypt the file. So there's a protection, added protection. And you can, of course, add your own personal folders in there. And the only thing that's complex is you got to add the different software that will actually access these folders. So for example, here I added Cam Studio when I did it because I needed to access the hard drive. Now I turned it off because I'm scared on this insider machine. I'm scared of maybe it could do some kind of issue with the insider builds. But it's an amazingly cool feature. I think one of the great features to protect yourself in the Fall Careers Update. OneDrive Files on Demand is cool. OneDrive Files on Demand. If you use OneDrive, you now have the ability to have files on demand, which means when you look at your files with the File Explorer, you'll have a little icon that changes now. One will tell you the basically if the file is on your PC, if the file's online in OneDrive, or halfway, maybe it's open in the file. So there's a little icon that gives you that possibility. Fluent design with acrylic pretty much across the board. Not everywhere. There's inconsistencies in Windows 10 still. There are places where fluent design is not there yet. There are places where it looks weird. There are places where it's perfect. So fluent design is one of the things. It's that transparency effect. And no, it is not a copy of what Vista had with Aeroglass. It is a more advanced thing. Windows Update bandwidth adjustments and information. Now you'll have information. So when you go to your settings and you go to Windows Update, so let's go to settings, update and security. Here you now have in the advanced options the ability to see how much, so in delivery optimization, how much, now sorry guys, I'm missing part of the left side of the screen, how much, with the activity monitor, how much data your updates are taking every month. You'll be able to choose and slide the sliders to the amount of data that you want updates to use maximum. You can limit that. So if you have especially a bandwidth, a small bandwidth for your internet connection, well, you can actually limit the amount of gigabytes taken by Windows updates. Now you have more control. Cortana tracks more events. So if you have a say you got a mail and inside it there's a poster. It says, oh, this concert at Friday at 9 p.m. It will actually ask you and say, oh, I saw it in your email that there's a concert at that group at 9 p.m. Would you like me to put a reminder in the calendar? So she can read now, which is cool. So there's more interaction between Cortana and what you do. And there's even going to be more as time goes by. Microsoft Edge. Now you can pin websites. You finally have full screen with F11. It can read PDF, EPUBs, electronic publications. You can annotate them. You can have them read aloud to you. Lots of interesting new things in Microsoft Edge. Better menu also for importing and exporting favorites and everything. Xbox networking. In the settings now you got Xbox networking features. You have the GPU activity when you're in the task manager, which is nice. Processes are throttled now. So basically, if you use, depending on how you use your computer, there is something called process throttle that they wanted to implement, but it wasn't ready yet, but now it is. So if some of the processes aren't used, they can throttle or kind of scale down that process so that your CPU gives more power to what's important and working, basically. So that's one of the things. And the photo app, Remix Video 3D, we now have a full Windows Movie Maker replacement finally, which is really, really cool. So there's a few things like that that are really nice. My rant on this, the fact that they are actually trying to introduce in there extra content for people that are on Office 365, so trying to push people into paying for extra content. I'm a little scared of that. I hope it doesn't go too far, because that is the scary part, the thing I don't like right now. Kevin has got a question. Do people use Cortana or do they disable the feature? I'd say there's two types of people in general. There's the ones that disable Cortana the most that they can, and the people that don't use it at all. I'd say probably 90% of the people, if not more, absolutely don't use Cortana. You know, I think it's there's very little interest in Cortana, even though Cortana is really interesting, I gotta say, because she's getting better and she's getting very interesting in what she can do for us. Even on the new Redstone 4 builds at the 17017, it adds something quite interesting into the interaction of our PC and everything. And they want to use Cortana to help us out when we want to install devices, which may be a good idea for some people that are not very, they're not used to that. But in real world, Cortana isn't used at all. Cortana is that thing that's there, and no one uses Cortana except me. I like to interact with Cortana and see what she can do, because I find it kind of cool to see, you know, the capabilities that Cortana has. I find it fascinating. You know, I find Ask Assistants pretty interesting. So I use it for that purpose. Apart from that, I'm sorry, but no one uses Cortana. I can tell you that. What else do we have? Anything else here? Let me just check it out here. I mean, I got this really weird thing happening with this. What the hell? Okay, what else do we have here? Let me just check it out. So okay, yeah, Tim had the folders. Yeah, I don't know why it doesn't work on this machine, but it works fine here, because I didn't remember, but I did a few things here where I would actually post pictures like I did there, and here I could do it. It really is a kind of a weird thing on that machine only. It's very bizarre, I can tell you that. So what else do we have? Sorry guys, I'm just going through here. So anyways, no, Cortana doesn't really, you know, people don't use it. Well, it says, I have a question that is not tech. When you were in school, how your grades moved? I see you are a very smart and kind person. You know what was the funny thing for school is I was the guy that would never study. I never opened my book at home. I never studied. And I would have really high marks. Because in school I would be the guy that listens. I would listen really well to what the teacher would give us as information. But I would go home, I didn't care. I wouldn't do my homework unless it was really necessary. And I still had really high grades because I have a tremendous memory, which helps me a lot and always helped me a lot through life. Having a tremendous memory is really something that actually you know, I think when you got that quality, it's really useful in life, just like looking at something and you know, it just remembering pretty much everything. And it's funny because one of my best friends had high grades also, but the thing is, he had to work his ass off at home. He would do his homework and do like a couple of hours every night. I remember one night telling me, look man, I almost didn't sleep. There's a big exam tomorrow and I'm going crazy. I studied like crazy yesterday. And I remember telling him, well, I didn't. And we were in the same class, and I remember when they gave us the grades, the exam grades, which were on 100. I had 96%, and he had like 80%. And it was like, what? You didn't study and you got 96? I studied my ass off last night and got 80. I'm like, I don't know, it just gets in and that's it. So, you know, there's a lot of things, but having a lot of memory does help you tremendously in life. Bennett W says he uses Cortana pretty often to search stuff when I need it. Yeah, well, you know, Cortana is a very nice assistant and very useful when you start using it. Alex still says, update gel, it only works with Google Chrome fine, not in Firefox, only in my desktop, but on my laptop works fine in Firefox now. Okay. Tim Brennan says, is there a way to tell if I am getting the most current version of Windows when using the media creation tool to make a USB key? Okay, here's the thing, Tim. The image that is created with the media creation tool is the basic image of every version of Windows that we have. So now we're at Fall Careers Update. You're getting Fall Careers Update today. That is not being updated. And 3 months from now, if you download with the media creation tool, you're getting the exact same version. Because what happens is they install the basics of that version, and then you get a big, huge cumulative update that installs over it. So that's why we get cumulative updates. So if you basically download at say in January, you need to install and you download with the media creation tool, you're getting the same version you're getting today of the Fall Careers Update. But once it's installed, you'll see a big, huge cumulative update that's going to install over it and install every new updates from now till January. So they don't update that except when they make a new major version. So the next time that image is going to be updated with the media creation tool is going to be in the Redstone 4 build in the month of March. Tim says, I entertain my grandkids in Cortana. Sorry here. Singing songs. That's why my grandson thought I would make Jill dance. Here we go. Let's dance. I'm an assistant now. Yes, absolutely. If you send donations at the Yahoo email, I'll post the Yahoo email in case you want it. It's the same one. Please do so. And here I'm gonna post the Yahoo email in case you need it. But yeah, yes, that still works. Absolutely, Douglas. And thanks for the donations, guys. It's much appreciated. I can tell you that. So yep, Douglas, absolutely. Alex says was the same way in school. Really helps a lot. I started studying. I started studying more when I was in college, because in college now you get so much information that you got to study, you know. So Farney Jr. says Windows Fall Careers Update is fast startup. It's for me it's equal. It's the same speed of startup that it was basically on the Creators Update. The good and the bad news. The good news, hey, Windows 10 Fall Careers Update is here. That's the good news this week. And as we're getting the Fall Careers Update, which is really nice. And I think that's where the good news of the week. And a lot of people are downloading right now. It's going to be interesting to see from now, pretty much everybody that's going through it. You guys seem to pretty much have it going well. So that's good news for Microsoft, because I mean, well, we're going to, you know, if it doesn't go well, you know, I think it needs to really download well, because this is what decides if Microsoft can do a 2 update a year thing. If they mess up this, they're going to have to really think about, okay, let's do it 1 update a year is enough. So they can't mess it up, for sure. So Fall Careers Update. And, of course, the bad news of the week, WPA2 hacked. You know, kind of thumbs down for that. But then again, it reminds us that pretty much everything can be hacked. Pretty much. And of course, this is show number 93 for October 17th. 2017. Hope you guys are enjoying today's show. So what else do we have here? So some failed updates. Wait, 16299.19. Just gonna check it out here. Is gigabyte update? No, it's only it's a small cumulative update. From 15 to 19 is a very small update. Same, very small update. You know, one of the worst things about the updates, and you guys will probably be pretty much on my side on that, is when you update your computer with a big update like this, and you just look at your PC and you're like, okay, it's been stuck at 44% for the past 10 minutes. Is that normal? Is it doing something? Is it, you know, that's why I hate PCs that don't have that little LED for the hard drive activity, because you can't tell. Is it doing something? Is it frozen? Did it freeze there? You know, it's just crazy. Go easy on the alcohol, Albert. Is there a way to tell if I'm getting... So anyways, that's it. So the most recent version in the media creation tool, like I say, is now you're getting Fall Careers update, and that's it. It's not going to be updated after that until March of next year. So pretty much. Thank you, Alex, for the nice comments. And so I'll be posting a lot of videos. I'll be posting videos tonight. I'm going to talk. I'll be posting a video on there's a Adobe Flash cumulative update today. There's a few things I want to talk about. The rollout of talk a little more about the rollout of Fall Careers update. A few things. Talk about that software that I've just. I'll put that in a tips and tricks video to find duplicates of files on your hard drive, which is always cool. I got tons of duplicates. You know, you download something and you notice that, oh, okay, it's the download folder, and you start noticing when you download files, oh, there's a little number 6 next to it. Oh, I've downloaded that 6 times now. It's just crazy. Oh man. And it's just funny, because it's like you realize you downloaded, you know, something a million times. Thank you, Miss Lady Catherine, staying there in the background. And nice to have all of you here, of course. Anybody has anything else to add, to ask, to do? And so we are here, of course, every Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern. Somebody asked me at the beginning of the show about the monetization being taken off of videos and stuff. Hey, Kirk Weber, nice to have you on board. Go Dodgers. There is a nice article today about how Montreal and apparently the Major League Baseball wants to add 2 new teams. And if they had 2 teams, the 2 cities that would get a team would be Portland, Oregon, and Montreal. Woohoo! Would have a baseball team again. I really hope so. I'd like that. So who knows? Maybe soon we'll have baseball back in Montreal. So yeah, talking about the monetization, there are some changes on YouTube, and videos that have certain types of content now are actually removed from monetization. I've had tons of videos that they remove monetization because of the content. Something that they didn't do before. Oh, Andre Dawson, yeah, I remember that. Really missed the Montreal Expos, I can tell you that. Cat Critters update. I think he's sleeping in the bedroom now, because when I talk too much, he goes in the bedroom. It's quieter there. So anyways, they what they do is they when the content, and you know, I've been able to well, that's the thing, Kurt Weber, it's all electronic, so it's all decided by the computers at YouTube, at Google. They do it with the keywords that you put in and not necessarily with the content. So I've learned my lesson. I know that if I talk about, for example, if I look at a or I talk about, you know, hacking. If I talk about hacking, I can't put the word hacking in the title or in the description, because as soon as the computer sees hacking, the computer will say, oh, you can't really, you know, monetize this content. It's about something that we don't approve, so we got no one to put ads on. Because just the fact that you talk about hacking, they wonder, is it hacking like you're showing how to hack something? Well, we don't want, you know, companies don't want to be associated with that or whatever. So what I do is I just you know, I talk about it. So I'll talk about the WPA2 hacking, but I'll just, you know, I'll change the wording. So in the title, I'll say WPA2 security flaw. That will not block. But if I put WPA2 hacked, I'll get no monetization for some reason. They're going to say, well, no, okay, we don't want to have any, you know, companies putting ads in front of something that talks about hacking, for example. But it's all electronics. And if you want to tell them, oh, I do not agree, your video needs to have at least 1,000 views in order for them to look at it. Below 1,000 views, they're not going to look at it. So right now, I've got tons of older videos that have been removed from monetization, but I don't care, because they're old news bulletins. You know, like a news bulletin from last year isn't interesting. So I don't really care about that, you know. Any stories, funny stories about my new job? Actually, yes. One interesting about yesterday. There's a little pub downstairs where you can get all sorts of, you know, refreshments and of food of all sorts. And I order, you know, a plate of Chinese food. And when it's time to pay, so I have a prepaid card from Microsoft to pay for the food at that place. So the lady, the Chinese lady, doesn't speak French or barely English or anything. She's like, yeah, it's like, what the hell you just say? But she's pointing at the terminal where you usually tap your debit card or credit card. So she's like, yeah, but there's nothing on it. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And it's going, what? And there's tons of people waiting behind me. So I'm like, okay, what the hell she wants me to do here? I see nothing. And suddenly, I look, and it's waiting for me to just press OK. First time I see that. You know, it's like, well, usually there's like the amount is there, or there's something there. No, now it's just OK. OK. So I press OK, and after that I have to do the other things, and then I can tap. But I was like, you know, can you speak French or something, or at least tell me in English? What the hell you want me to do? I didn't see it was OK. It's a small little, you know, it's like the terminal is this big. There's a little OK right here. It's like, I was looking here. I don't see nothing. It's just white. Oh, there's an OK. You gotta press OK. So I looked like an idiot in front of a lot of people, but anyways, it was the funny story of yesterday. Nils Pettersson, nice to have you here on board. Adon Gardado, how to change Wi-Fi password, IP address. You have to go into your router. So your router has its own IP at the basics. If you have your router manual, it should tell you, or if you Google it, a lot of them are, 192.168.0.1 or something like that, So it's really, you just have to go through the interface of your router by doing that. In there, you will have the full menus. You can change the password, the basic password, and the username. You can assign an IP, but you have to go within your router for that at the first time. Google your router's model number and brand if you're not sure, and it's going to tell you in a web browser what you need to do. So for example, if I go on my web browser here, I'm going to type, I think it's 192.0. That's 168.0.1 in my case, which is a very standard address, I believe. I'm trying to remember, is it 0.1? I think it is. Yep, here you go. TP-Link AC750 wireless dual band gigabit router. I enter my username, my password, and I'll be logging in. If you don't have that information, you might need to reset your router to its basic configuration to have it back, because you can't find it if you lost it. But by default, most of the routers have admin as their username, admin as a password, or sometimes it's admin password, or sometimes admin and you just leave the password empty and log in. It depends on the manufacturer. Very often, a lot of routers today have this under the router. There's a sticker. It has all the details of what address to put in the URL here, and what are the details of the username, the passwords, and everything, in case you need to access that information. Bennett W says, my PC is ready to restart and install the Fall Careers update. So, cool. Hope it goes well, my friend. Yes, absolutely, Patrick. That's why there are some noises, crowd noises. I have to set myself in specific areas to do my news bulletin, for example, or if I want to add some videos. So I am sometimes in places where there's a lot of people around me. So yes, that's why you hear crowd noises in the background. Every time I work over there, when I post videos from Microsoft. So I will often have, I try sometimes to find a quiet environment. Sometimes I can use one of the offices and be very quiet while I do them. But sometimes I'm stuck, like yesterday I was stuck all day at the main area where there's always a lot of people. So that's why you hear a lot of people in the background. So for sure. So what else is there in there? Yeah, like Niels Pettersson says, sometimes it's written on the router itself. And yep, you can search the detail with ipconfig, or you can right click on your connection and go into the properties and see the details of the IP that you need to put in the address bar also. So Google Chrome browser just update. A small update or a big update? 62.032, okay. So it's a smaller update, or what version is it right now? 61? 62. They update these browsers so many times now, I'm always lost at what browser version are we at. Let me just check it out here. Let's go to About Google Chrome. So I'll be checking that out. Oh yeah, it's version 61 I've got here. It's updating to 62 now. So it was at 61. Okay, well I'm updating now. Here, let's go here. I think I can do it with this. So if I go here and I go to raw.com, here I go to help about Google Chrome, and here it goes, guys. There's an update for Google Chrome. We're moving to version 62. It means I'm going to have to talk about that again today. So nope, never used a Flatpak for Linux at all. So kind of interesting. So it's taking time to check for updates, but it's updating. It's updated. It updated on my main machine now. I'm at version 62. So you guys, there's a new version of Chrome. If you want to check it out, there's a new version of Chrome 62. I need to do Linux videos now. I've got actually the machine I am on the chat room with is the Ubuntu machine right now that I plan to use to make Ubuntu and Linux videos with. I can't install Linux Mint on any damn machine that I have. Just crazy. Yep, version 62. I'm gonna test that out. So yeah, Alex, you're gonna send me updates on the problem with the streaming. Last email about the product and full careers update block. So okay, cool. So hey guys, we're gonna say goodbye. I'm going to go make myself a lasagna. I've got everything I need for a nice, good lasagna, and I will be posting some videos tonight. Bennett, it's going to be towards, because I'm a very big beginner. I am a beginner of Linux, so it will be beginner stuff, and I'm going to kind of learn at the same time as I'm going to do the videos. So that's pretty much how it's going to go, and taking a look at different things and different distros of Linux and all of that. But it's really for beginners, I gotta say. So I'm gonna go make myself some lasagna. I need to go out and get some cat food because I think there's only one can of cat food left. So while the lasagna cooks, I'm gonna go get the cat food. And hey, we have our next show is the Windows Insider Hour on Thursday, and who knows, we might have moved on to something else in 17017. If not, we're going to talk about 17017 Redstone 4, which I think is going to be cool. And for those that watch videos, well, I'll be posting some videos tonight. So it seems I'll be posting a review of Chrome 62, talking about the new features. I'll be posting some updated videos on the Fall Careers Update if I've got any news. I'll be posting a tips and tricks on the duplicate file software, how it works. And basically that's what I will do. So there will be some posting of videos tonight. And we'll see each other on Thursday, the Windows Insider Hour, everybody. Daniel Washes, can you do a cooking show? You know what? Funniest thing, in my first experiments of going through YouTube channels, I had done a channel where I would actually cook. The channel was called Easy Quick Recipes. The name of the channel was Easy Quick Recipes. And I had posted maybe 5 videos of things, very quick things to cook if you don't have a lot of time but you want to have a good meal. You know, recipes that were really, really quick. and I was showing how to do them. And I'm thinking sometimes I should have continued, because I cook all the time. So it would be easy for me to kind of do one of these cooking videos. I just put the cameras there and, while I cook, do all the things. And I was surprised because those five videos, I think they all racked more than 10,000 views in like a month and a half. It seems that people want to have quick, good recipes to do, and they were interested in that. It was kind of okay, kind of cool. DX doesn't eat. The cat doesn't eat at all food that we have at home. The only thing he wants to eat is when I actually is when I open a can of or if I use, if I buy some fish, like, salmon or things like that, tuna. Now he goes crazy. The only other thing he goes crazy is ham and bacon. He goes crazy on bacon, but I can't give him bacon. He barfs. Like 5 minutes after he eats a piece of bacon, he's gonna barf. So yeah, maybe I should, Bennett. I know. I really should, because I cook all the time, so it wouldn't be that much more difficult to do the video while I'm cooking, basically. And I was extremely surprised at the amount of views. Today I was thinking a few days ago about channels, and if that channel would have continued in that way at the time, and I would have posted tons of cooking videos at the speed that it was growing, I think it would be my most popular channel today. It would easily beat everything I do. So anyways, I kind of I removed the videos because somebody reminded me, said, hey, you had videos that you cook stuff. And what happened is I had early on in my AdSense life, I had a rant with AdSense. AdSense had at some point, about a year after I started making videos, AdSense had flagged my channels as click fraud for some reason. And they blocked monetization for that's 3 months, 4 months. And the thing is, I was so mad at Google that I deleted all the videos that I had posted. I was the hell with it. These guys are really gonna just go to hell. If I can't monetize, I'm not posting videos. So what happened is I removed all of these videos, and I had no backup of these videos. So I lost all the videos that I had posted. And when it gave me back, because after about 3 months, I got an email saying, oh, we're sorry, it was a mistake, there was no click fraud, there was nothing wrong with your account, we're giving you back monetization. And I had back then about, I don't know, maybe, I think I had like $150 in AdSense. It was the first year, so I didn't make a lot of money. They had like withheld $150. And and after about 3 months, one day I look at my bank account, it's like, Google AdSense, $150. I was like, what? So I went back to my account and I looked at my emails. It's like, oh, we're sorry. There's, after investigation, there's no click fraud. There's no problem with your account. And, but I had deleted everything. So, I've never posted cooking videos again after that. Because what I had done, I'd removed the videos, but I also deleted the channels. So they weren't there anymore, you know. And the biggest problem is that once you know, making videos is very, very time consuming. So at some point, you know, I started redoing videos, and I concentrated, when I restarted everything, I concentrated on what was working. And cooking videos are a little harder to make because they take more time, because you got to move the cameras, you got to do a lot of things. But you know, I need to. You know, Kirk, I sometimes feel like doing what I did before. You know, when I started on YouTube, it was very simple. I created tons of channels. I would create channels of different subjects, and I'd keep the ones that were working, and I just delete the ones that weren't working. And what happened with that is I would do that for a while, but then it became more and more and more complex because I did a lot of videos. You know, I do a lot of videos, I've got to say. And at some point you concentrate on what's the most interesting. So, you know, I concentrate a lot on the Windows channel because it's a very popular channel. I concentrate on the shortwave channel, another one is very popular for me. I do concentrate on the Windows Insider channel. I think it has potential. It's been, the Windows Insider channel has been actually growing at a fast pace in the past month and a half. So I have a lot of, you know, I really hope there's going to be a lot of views eventually on that channel. And I try to post more because one of the things that happens on the Windows Insider channel, sometimes I have difficulty posting stuff and trying to limit, because I don't want to post too much of the same thing. I try to limit and try to have unique videos on the Windows Insider as much as possible also. So all of that makes, and the fact that I'm very busy with Microsoft and everything, makes it difficult. But I gotta say, sometimes I have that basic feeling that I had way back 6 years ago when I started, to create new channels with new content just for the fun of it, and see if I can maybe go in new directions. One of the things, thank you Technical Nabil, and also thank you, say hi to let me just check the name here. Somebody was Robbie Nevels, nice to have you here. So you know, I'd like that. I would like that. And one of the things also is that I am trying, because one of the major problems of YouTube videos that I post, a lot of them are what I call dated. So for example, all the Windows 8 videos, they were popular then. They're not popular now because Windows 8 is now shrinking and it's disappearing. So I got old videos that will be useless at some point. You know, news bulletins, things like that are dated. And dated content has the problem of you got to update yourself all the time because the dated content fades away fast. So one of the ideas behind YouTube videos is content that does not get old. So cooking doesn't get old. You know, if I show you how to make a grilled cheese sandwich, well, people are gonna check that out 10 years from now. It doesn't change. So what I would like to find is create a channel that would have a subject that doesn't get old. Cooking is an example. So there will always be an amount of people that will watch these because they are, a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, still things that people want to watch and want to do. So that's the idea behind creating a new channel. I would like to create something that has no time and date, something that will go through time, you know. Yes, Patrick, my grilled cheese will be green, absolutely. So oh yeah, I know. If I can get women with that will of course make views go up for sure. You know, I don't know. I would have to basically ask who could I use in my videos that I know that like to do videos with me. Huh. I get asked all the time also, you know, do shows in French. A lot of people are asking me to do things in French. Somehow I rather do them in English. I don't know why. I'm more comfortable doing English language shows for some. Jill Hefner. Yeah, Patrick. Jill Hefner. So, but you know, Niels Pedersen says, yeah, she'll do like you do now, Windows and your radio shows. It's hard to have too much. You know, I'll be thinking of that. Real cheese, Linux, and cookies. We do some kind of show, you know, cooking with Windows. Today, we're gonna make some, you know, bouillabaisse, and of course, we will at the same time show you how to make bouillabaisse and format your PC with a new copy of Windows 10. So you put it at 350 Fahrenheit. You let it cook for 15 minutes. While you're doing that, you go to the keyboard, you insert your USB thumb drive, you'll have time to go through the first steps of installing Windows. Oh man, cooking for cats. You know, that could be a really good idea, Daniel, because a friend of mine is actually making his cat his own food. And now that you say that, it's like, I'm sure it'd be popular to show Paul the cat and showing recipes for your cat. How to make your own food for cats. I'm sure it'd be popular. I can tell you that. Alexander downloaded but did not offer to install it. You downloaded through Windows Updates, Alexander? It should technically give you a little something. But it's really hard. That's the thing, Kirk. It's extremely hard, you know, and I like to say it all the time. I love doing these shows and love doing the videos, but man, I can tell you one thing. I sometimes have the impression that I ain't doing anything else in life, and that my life is now in a box with 200-watt spots in my face, in a camera, and PCs. And so, you know, I think there's also a danger in overdoing what I do, because I could overdo it and get to a point where I just get, I don't know, I'd get to a point where I can't continue anymore. I'd go crazy or something. So anyways, Kevin says, I'm gonna have grilled cheese for dinner with Fritos. That's nice. You know, grilled cheese are cool for one thing. When you are a little bit hungry and you want a really quick snack, grilled cheese are great. Grilled cheese are great. And one of my videos, the first video actually I posted in the cooking, was a breakfast grilled cheese. I was showing how to make a grilled cheese with an egg in it. So that was one of my first videos, a breakfast grilled cheese. So it was a grilled cheese with your favorite cheese and an egg, a cooked egg in it. I remember that was the first video that I posted, and it was really popular actually. was very, very popular actually. So and I, you know, it was good because you had not just your grilled cheese, you had an egg, so it would sustain you for that breakfast time, you know. And I have these ideas like that. I have tons of little recipes here that people like, oh, this is really good. And where do you get the recipe? I didn't get it anywhere. I just, one day had this and bread and that, and I thought, hey, maybe I can do something with that. And you know, it was just crazy. So, you know. Okay, maybe it's doing something right now, Alexander. At some point, it will probably ask you. Give it time. Maybe give it some time. It's probably preparing it, and at some point you'll have something. Let it go. Let it, you know. Let your thing there. What do you think about the nasty egg thing from Taco Bell? I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. We don't even. I don't think we have a I'm not sure we have a Taco Bell in Montreal, so I don't know anything. I'm a sucker for the McDonald's sausage McMuffin with egg. I just love that. I should make one at home. How to make your own sausage McMuffin with egg. That'd be good. Ronnie Neville says my version 1709 downloading update stuck at 69, longer than an hour. Just leave it alone. There are some times where it stays there for a while. Okay, I'm gonna check it out, Kirk. I'm gonna check that out. Grilled Swiss cheese in turkey. That sounds really good, actually. That does sound really good. Yes, it is, Niels Pedersen. The media creation tool has updated to the Fall Careers update now. So whatever you do with it, it is available through that media creation tool. So go ahead and update if you wish. Okay, it's on TV in the US. I'll have to check that out. It must be on YouTube somewhere. Yeah, I like it now that they have sausage. They have the breakfast sandwiches here 24 hours now and at McDonald's. I love that. Well, my update is on the only other machine that I can update to Fall Careers Update is the other machine, which still doesn't have, by the way, Creators Update. So I'm kind of getting far. It's still at the anniversary update there. I would need to check that out and see what I can do there for sure. But apart from that, my main machine is updated. I updated with the insider build, so I'm already there. I've been there for a week now. Well, you gotta learn, Albert. You gotta learn. I have my Fender Stratocaster here with my Marshall amp. I'm not really good, but I can play it. It's not that hard if you take a little bit of time every day. You know, 15 minutes a day is all you need. And in a month and a half, you're gonna start. You know what, Tim? I get the exact same error also on all the machines. All the machines that I've tried Mint, it doesn't even install. I get to the black screen at the beginning, and it gives me an error that says unable to create file system, whatever, and it just crashes badly in the black screen there. And I don't even get to any possibility. Even if I just try to boot, if I just try to boot on it, not even install it, crashes on 3 machines, which I find very, very peculiar. So don't worry about it, Bennett. You should see my typing on my phone. It sounds like a crazy person is trying to text you. So just funny. So anyways, gonna take care, everybody. I will be well, I've tried different things, Tim. I even used a machine that already has a Linux partition. So it was already, the hard drive was even already formatted in the perfect format. And it does the same thing. It seems there's some weird thing that is there. It's very bizarre. So, but FerrinOS, I like FerrinOS a lot, I gotta say, and now I've got Ubuntu here, so I'll do that, and if someday I can get Linux to work on some machine, I'll talk about it. But for now, but anyways, FerrinOS, even if you're on Linux, by the way, on Linux Mint. FerrinOS is a variation of Linux Mint, so I can probably do pretty much everything that it's still going to work on Linux Mint. So I might use that also to do the videos. So hey, take care, everybody. It was nice to have you on board. We've been on for what, 2 hours and a half. Long show today. Kind of fun to, kind of relaxed and fun today to talk to everybody. Of course, Windows Insider Hour coming up on Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern. This week, 2 shows for radio. We'll have Tuning the Bands here Friday, 2000 hours UTC, 4 p.m. Eastern. And we'll have the live show also on Saturday, 2000 hours UTC, 4 p.m. Eastern. Hope everybody is there. And it's fun to have all of you on board. Charlie 1900 says Windows 10 1709 took me 2 hours to download and install. Thanks. Have a good night. Thank you very much. It's really, really nice. I love that song. Still Loving You is a great, great song. First time I heard Still Loving You, I was at the, I shouldn't say that, but I was at a strip club. That's the first time in my life I heard Still Loving You with this woman in high heels. Anyways, long story. Take care, everybody, and make a 10-hour stream. Man, I got a lot of people that say, wow, it's so much fun when you stream. It's like I just watch everything. It's just so cool. And it's like, wow, really, really cool. I love Scorpions. They're really, really nice. I love that group. Take care, everybody. Love you all. Stay safe, and see you soon on the live shows. Bye-bye from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. This was a live tech show number 93 for October 17th, 2017. Bye, everyone. Have a great evening, night, day, wherever you are in the world. Bye-bye. Okay, you guys are going to find it funny, but we were talking about McDonald's, and I just got an email that popped up here saying, have you tried this new McDonald's whatever? Okay. Bye, everyone.